Okay. Good, thank you. Okay, everyone. So tonight's presenters, Diane and David Reesor, are certainly no strangers to Delta Natural Society. They presented to us on a number of occasions, taking us on journeys to places such as Ethiopia, Iceland, Newfoundland, many, many places all over the world, actually. And they've also been very kind and presented us with several signed Robert Bateman calendars, which some of our members have been very happy to receive. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to read the bios in the newsletter or online, and I see there are a few people who probably wouldn't have seen either of those things. So I'll just do a really quick summary of their biographies. Diane has lived in remote villages in such diverse places as Dominica in the Windward Islands and Nunavut, and has done some very challenging treks, including in Nepal. She became interested in photography when she met David. David's been interested in photography since the age of 10 and won the Best Canadian Amateur Photo of the Year for underwater photography. And he's also co-authored a book. It's called Predator: Life and Death in the African Bush. When they're not embarking on travel adventures, they split their time between West Vancouver and Arizona. And I'm not sure if they're in Arizona right now. Diane said something about traveling in New Mexico, so I'm not sure exactly where you are.
Well, we're in Arizona.
You're in Arizona? Okay, great. So tonight we're going to be taking us to Botswana, to the Okavango Delta, which once a year is the largest untouched delta, inland untouched delta in the world. Annual flooding brings the migration of Africa's animals, some former rivals, predators and prey, to drink together in the same waters. So I'm going to turn it over to David and Diane to take us on a little journey. I'm going to meet all kinds of interesting animals, I'm sure, and maybe some interesting people as well. You can use the chat function to record your questions and we'll address them after the presentation. So I'll turn it over to you, David and Diane. Thank you again for coming to join us.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you all for having us. This is going to be about a 35-minute show video. There will be text in the video. There also will be sounds of animals and people and things like that. The text I will read just in case everyone can't see it. And the Delta, just so you understand, to get around, you're in boats that go through water channels that have been made by mainly hippopotamus and the boat propellers. And in the Delta, the hippos have the right of way. They are also the animal that kills the largest number of tourists in Africa every year. And the Cape buffalo kills the largest number of people. And so the hippos are territorial, very aggressive, and they're not after you as bait or prey or anything like that. They're vegetarians actually. And but they do take the boats and tear them up and dump the people in and crush them. So you're not going to see any of that on this video though. So, okay, so we'll start the show now. So we went there in September 2010. So these are the various camps that we stayed at. And as you say, you get around by boat or helicopter. The rain, the water that comes here falls to the north, and then and 2 months later, it shows up here. So Botswana is the largest inland delta in the world, size of France, population of 2 million. The delta is the largest untouched inland delta in the world. 4% of the country is set aside as private reserves and national parks. The most valuable export is diamonds. And since we were there, De Beers has moved their diamond cutting plants to Botswana. So this is the type of channels you go through. As I say, encounter a hippo, he has the right of way, both to be polite, plus he can kill you. So that's the group that was there. There were 6 of us. Mark Ross is our guide. We've been in Africa 11 times with Mark Ross. So this is what the Delta looks like. The water is crystal clear. A lot of small islands. Slaty egret. This is the blacksmith plover. That's the eggs. That's the juvenile, and the chick, and the parent. Lilac-breasted roller. The lions in the Delta are larger than most African lions, and they will actually hunt Cape buffalo in the water. Young cub with its mother. Common reedbuck. It's a large reedbuck, but has no pattern. Hammerkop, thought by indigenous people to have supernatural powers. That's its nest, and that's the bird on top of it, and he keeps adding to that nest every year, so the nest is used continually or yearly. Tailed goofball. Malachite kingfisher. These are about 2.5 inches long, quite common there. Converted to black and white just so you can see the contrast of the bird without the background to it. As you can see, it's quite damp there. The cubs are soaking wet. Warthog, diurnal, one of the most successful herbivores in Africa. When alarmed, it trots rapidly with the tail straight up, so it's easy to follow them. Rosy-throated longclaw, juvenile and parent. or adult. They're in black, forehand buster female. Fishy. So it's not natural for cats to be in water. So they take the cubs in to train them to swim and hunt in the water. Then it gets a little too deep and they're trying to get on their mother's backs. So that's enough training for today. This lion, one-eyed since birth, or since early birth anyway, has been featured in National Geographic a number of times. So she has survived with only one eye. Lequi enables it to outrun predators in water. Tall hindquarters, so they can run through the water to escape predators. Kudu, greater kudu. Those stripes are amazing. It walks into the bush and just literally disappears. Oxpeckers ticks off the animal, also warn them of predators. Side striped jackal, rare. Monogamous and territorial, carnivore, but also eats fruits and berries. Swainson's francolin. Baboons. Waterbuck, female. Looks like it has a bullseye on its rear end. Showing the moon at night. Kingfisher female can hover, and then it, you probably all know this, grabs the fish and whacks it on the branch until it's dead. Now, this is an elephant that has charged this. 95% of their charges are false. They're just letting you know who the real boss is. Large gray mongoose, solitary, territorial, diurnal hunter. Tsebi. They form leks for breeding, which is sort of like a round circle that they gather in to mate. That's a male, and you can see on the side of its face a sort of a dark area which is wet, which means he's producing hormones, and this is when he is going to be at most dangerous to us.
He's musk.
It's called musk. The carmine bees. So what they're doing here is they need the dust and sand to ward off parasites. And they're also after the calcium in the oil.
In the ground.
In the ground, when they're breathing.
Right.
Little bee eater. Ibis. Dragonfly. Tree squirrel, not particularly dangerous. Reticulated giraffe. There are 3 different types of giraffes in Africa. Brown snake eagle. It will hunt mambas up to 10 feet long. Black mamba is a very, very dangerous snake. Cape buffalo. This kills more people in Africa than any animal. Has no fear of anything. Poo-poo. It's an active beehive. Barbet. Hornbill looks very upset at us. Go away bird. Called that because of its sound, which sounds like go away, go away. Pure spotted owlet hunts frequently every day. You notice it's a very small, probably 4 to 6 inches high. It's got a frog in its mouth right now. Boo-boo with nest material. Birches, long-tailed starling. These birds more or less invade your camp at night. They're confident and noisy and walk around cocky gait like they own the place. Carnivore, very aggressive bird. Kite. Common moorhen. Steinbok, browser and water independent, does not drink water, gets it out of the plants he eats. Not too disturbed by us being around. This is a leopard. These are instant photographs, how fast he can climb that tree. This is the cub, mother and cub. They're just walking right by our vehicle, totally undisturbed by us as long as we're in the vehicle. Solitary, Huglin's robin chat. Bushbuck, mixed figure, active mainly at night. Here he is in the middle of the day in our campsite. Bushbuck female. Bearded woodpecker. So hippopotamus, rotund body, stubby legs, canines up to 18 inches long. So the idea is when you come upon them, you don't disturb them, but you keep your boat running, motor running. This guy's trying to race us in the boat. Little Guaco heron. Greenish beak occurs at mating season. Crocodile has no fear of humans. We're in a boat 12 feet long. This crocodile is maybe 10 inches long. Just a baby, but has no fear of us. Egyptian geese. Once safe. African darter, red-billed oxpecker, rare bird. Now the beak is starting to come up, starts to split, and as it gets older, the gap in the beak gets larger. There's a leopard all 4 feet off the ground chasing something. Now treat it. This little squirrel trembling like crazy in the tree. Okay, this just shows you, you can drive right by a leopard and not even see them. How disguised are they? Know you're there. Just show how the ankle and knee work. Now build duck. This is a rare owl. African wild dog or Cape hunting dog. They were hunted almost to extinction. So they're lean, lanky canted patchwork of black, white, and varying shades of ochre, short-haired tail. Gestation period 70 to 75 days. Average of 10 pups, up to mortality rate to 90%. Hunting success is very high. So what's happening here is they've left their cubs on the island and they've swum across to hunt. Very, very efficient hunters. They keep looking back to see the cubs. The cubs are like our children. They don't pay attention to you, so they wander off and they have to go find them every time they go back. But within 2 minutes of this, we didn't see it, but they had killed Cape buffalo. They will tear it apart alive. But one of them doesn't stand a chance against a bigger animal. So we're out sitting outside our vehicle having tea, and this one wanders up right beside us, no fear. They have incredible stamina. They can run forever. They hunt in organized groups. So when 2 of them will be chasing you, when that 2 get tired, another 2 will take over. So their success rate is very high. Hunt rate is very high, highest of any animal. So they eat the kill, and they come eat it in chunks. They come back to feed the animals, so they regurgitate it for the cubs, and the food never hits the ground. So the cubs are biting at the mother's mouth, or the adult's mouth, not mother necessarily, to get her to regurgitate it. They are making a comeback. Afternoon sun, it's pretty hot there. If you keep your motor running, if one of these guys, so this, unfortunately, our guide stopped the boat for some reason. And this is him charging us just instantly. The following sequence, the hornbill is picking seeds out of elephant dung, throwing them in the air, then swallowing, and walks up to 7 miles a day doing this. The elephant only digests about 10% of what he eats. So we're coming back to camp one night, and there's quite a few camps around here. And this was all set up for all the safari guides or tourists. That's the local guide. That's Mark Ross, the friend of ours. This is Julie. This is her birthday.
I hope these aren't trick candles.
No, you can tell by the sparkles.
That's lovely.
Wow.
That's lovely.
No, they are trick ones. You can't blow them out.
They are trick candles.
Come on, girl. Warrior.
Go harder.
Good.
Beautiful cylinder, beautiful cylinder, cylinder, I shall never forget. Beautiful cylinder.
This is my favorite place on the safari. So everything's cooked on woods, oak fires, great food. Masked weaver. Yellow-billed egret. Spoonbill. Giant kingfisher. Huge bird. Monitor lizard, 6 feet long with a blue tongue, walks sinuously, which means he walks with his belly off the ground.
Just off the ground.
Can't hear you. Almost a guinea fowl.
It's not bad, Dan. That one kitchen light. And the head's all the way up.
A little closer than we'd like to be. So elephant skin is, although it looks tough, it's actually very tender. So they're constantly putting mud on it to ward off ticks and other insects. This guy's not doing too good a job. He's mainly throwing it behind him. But if you look at the one beside him, the baby, he's fairly accurate. This Nile crocodile is as big as your truck. It's probably 20 feet long. Santal sable antelope, fairly rare. Termite mound, 90% of the termite home is underground. The top part acts as an air conditioner. Termite infestation. So what they do is they eat the inside of the tree, but then they cover all their trails with mud so they're not exposed to daylight or heat. So they eventually will in effect devour the tree. A couple of comedians in our group. That's our local guide. That's what your teeth look like if you're not brought up with sugar. So this is the type of accommodation you have. That's for 2 people. You have indoor plumbing, hot and cold water, king size beds, which you will see in a minute. That's the local fire brigade. So Dan found these kudu horns 1 inch off the world record. You're not allowed to take anything, so we had to leave them. That's just to show the paw configuration. Day water lily. Baobab tree, deciduous, a beast, edible fruit. Looks like it's upside down. Looks like the roots are up in the air. All the elephants have very short tusks. All females with their cubs of varying ages. Cabridium. Royal shaving brush. So this is how you get around, and places you go through water like this, you got to get your cameras, computers, everything off the floor. So this is a bridge they built to get across this waterway. And then the bridge goes down, then goes underwater. Afternoon tea. So this is what a typical bedroom would look like. Bathroom. Dining room. Lounge. And they give you water. When you get there, they give you water bottles with the name on it. You only want to drink purified water. It's the back of a chair. just the carvings they've done on it. This is afternoon tea. So since you're in an inland delta and this is be your cabin, you're not allowed to walk from the cabin back to the lodge without calling the camp, because leopard, lion, anything can actually walk along that pathway. We never encountered anything like that. Housekeeping. Breakfast, scrambled eggs. This is a larder they built. They've lined it and everything so that it's fairly well insulated. This is what the camp staff one night performing for us. The woman on the left is facing away from us as the owner of the camp. Papyrus. These are Macquarie boats. The locals get around very, very tippy. You have to be very careful. Ceremonial paddles. This is the most dangerous thing we got from walking from our cabin to the lodge. Praying mantis. But this one's about 6 inches long. Another typical bedroom. Outdoor bathtub and shower. These are sort of neck decorations. Seating areas all carved. We watched this game, couldn't figure it out. Woman on the left appears to be winning. She's got most stones in front of her. And remember, take the picture horizontally. Dan always likes to take vertical pictures, so we accommodated her. Carved door. What was this? Diane,
This is a
you gotta speak
Zimbabwe,
up.
the Zimbabwe symbol.
This is the airfield. There you are.
Thank you so much, David and Diane. That was very interesting. Lots and lots of different animals and birds and wonderful sounds to go with them.
Thank you.
That was great. It's always nice to have the sound along with it. I have to ask a question before I allow anybody else to get in there. What on earth do you do when an elephant charges you?
You do not, first of all, you're not on foot, you're in a vehicle, but you do not move. 95%, the first time we saw it happen with our guide, the driver started the car and the guy just leaned over and said, "You move this car, I'll kill you." So the elephant will charge 95% or more. It's not, it's just sort of telling you who's boss, to back away, and you just stay calm and don't do anything, and he walks off.
Mm,
How close were you to the large lions, elephants? We've had elephants scraping our vehicles, milling around us, like up to 50 or 100 elephants around the vehicle. Just stay calm, don't point or anything, just take photographs. We've had cheetahs on the vehicle. And lions and leopards, we've had those about 10 feet away.
wow.
How many days were we? Should I just answer these questions as they come up?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
How many days were there? I think it was 2 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
right.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You fly to Zimbabwe and then fly into Botswana.
So the short tusks, is that something that has always been the case with the elephants in Botswana, or is this a survival mechanism that's just developed over time?
What's happened with all the poaching of elephants, the large tusk gene pool has disappeared. So all that's being produced now are smaller tusks, because as I say, all the big tuskers have been killed.
Ah.
So it's the gene pool is gone, and it'll take forever to get it back.
Yeah.
But it's everywhere in Africa, not just Botswana.
Not in Botswana, yeah. I think there's some places where they're actually not having any tusks at all now.
Yes, females will have smaller ones generally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad situation, but I think Botswana is, from what I've heard, is pretty good about keeping the poaching down and.
Yes,
safeguarding animals.
they stopped hunting for a while, but were forced to open it again. And it's on a very limited basis, and it's very, very expensive. I mean, it may be $50,000 to shoot an elephant or something like that. That money is used for conservation,
Mhm.
which ultimately should help the animals.
Oh, sure, yeah. So did you count your birds?
No.
Well, they're in the list, but we don't have it.
We're
now.
good photographers, but we're better photographers than birders.
Well, it looked like you saw quite a number of species, that's for sure.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Mark Ross is an incredible guide with animals and birds.
Yeah, he gives us a bird list at the end of it.
It was interesting seeing all those different kingfishers.
Yes, yeah,
Wow.
the Malachites were everywhere. They were like dirt over here to us.
I think Audrey had another question that came up.
I didn't see it.
No, neither did I. She was asking about the number of days, and then she was asking about the bird count.
Okay.
That was the last question that I saw. Does anyone else have questions, comments? Shall I tell you about my hippo experience?
Okay.
Sure.
One and only time in Africa. A million years ago, I went with my father because one of my uncles lived in Kenya. And my aunt and uncle took us to a new resort that was just being completed on a lake. And we were walking across a little bridge over a pond. And suddenly this hippo came up out of the pond with its mouth wide open, just inches away from the bridge. And of course, my aunt and I screamed, and this guy came running down from the lodge laughing. And he said, "Oh, don't worry about her. That's Susie." I said, "Susie, you have a hippo called Susie living in your pond?" I said, "How did that happen?" Well, had excavated for the pond, which they intended to stock with ornamental fish, except that Susie moved in and nobody could figure out how to get her out of there. So they gave her a name and she would come when she was called, and the people who worked at the lodge would pull out tufts of grass and toss them into Susie's mouth. It was a rather interesting greeting.
Yes, it was. My goodness. Gosh, that's a little scary.
Very scary.
There's a question there about it. We've been at different times of the year. If you ask what's your favorite, there is only one season to be there. And that's when the delta is flooded. Otherwise, it's just dry and parched and there's no animals. The animals come from weeks away to go to this delta. And once the rain falls to the north, it takes about 2 months for it to get down to the delta. And it's there for about 3 or 4 months and then it's gone. It's the same thing in a lot of places in Africa. There's certain times of the year you want to go and certain times you do not want to go in rainy seasons. You've never seen rain like you have when you're there, and floods.
Mhm. Yeah. See, Donna's just put a comment there that she very much enjoyed your presentation, and I'm sure everyone else did as well.
Well, thank you for having us.
Okay. Anyone else have more questions?
Just want to say that was wonderful. I missed the first half because of another meeting, but good to see you guys.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Hi, Sharon.